What are the 4 items you absolutely need when you're starting a business? Let's get into it. Hey y'all, this is Tiffany with Boss on a Budget. I help new and small nonprofits get up and running and also raise money for their new nonprofits. But I also talk about how to launch successfully. And in today's video, I'm talking about whether or not you have a business or a nonprofit business, whether it's for profit or nonprofit. What do you need in place? What are the 4 items you should have in place when you want to launch? I am obsessed with the startup space. I just really like encouraging people in the startup realm just because I always was fascinated by people starting businesses, and I've started several businesses and have failed a lot in business, including for-profit and nonprofit, and I just want to provide advice to help you on your journey, okay? The first one is very simple. You need a name, but I'm even going to go beyond your name. You really need to understand your brand and how you present yourself to the public and to your customers. So your name starts first though. Your name describes who you are. Your name is making a statement about what you will do or what you will add to the marketplace. So some people may not put a lot into their names, but if you're going to be a business that's very visible and you want to get people behind your name and behind your brand, I think it's helpful to know how you want to be referred and make sure that reflects who you are. So let's take a step back and just think about branding in general, which in very simple terms, your brand is just how people perceive you, how people feel about you, how they think about you when they hear you or they experience your business. How do you want people to feel? You've got to think about what your brand is and how you're going to present your brand to people. So are you a fun or flirty brand? Are you a serious or straight-laced brand? What are you? What impression do you want people to have about your brand? Are you the face of your brand? Because not everybody is. There are some people like me who get on video a lot and people know Boss on a Budget because they know me, but your business may not have like one person as a brand, but maybe you still provide really good information and you're known for that. Or maybe you use influencers or other people to kind of represent who you are, and based on who you associate with, that's the impression that people get from you. I think it's very important for you to write down personality traits of your business and how you want that reflected in your colors, in your logo, in the words you use, in how you engage with people, and how you instruct your staff or your contractors to engage with your customers. All of that matters and all of that connects. You have to think about your legacy as a business, I would say, and how do you want people to talk about you? How do you want people to think about you? How do you want people to remember you after they experience you, after you walk away? And you getting clear on that helps you when you're making decisions about what direction you want to go. And I'm not saying that because you make a decision in the beginning of your process that that's what it has to be, because a lot of times people pivot, a lot of times people change. But I think it's important that no matter where you change or what direction you go in, you have a sense of what your brand is and what you want your brand to be. The second thing, even though it seems obvious, it really isn't. You need to know what's the product or the service you want to sell. Now, you're probably watching this video and being like, duh, Tiffany, like if I'm starting a business, I already know what I want to sell. But it's not that simple though, because as you go through the process of figuring out what makes sense with your marketing or who's your ideal customer, that may change and that may shift. You may go into business thinking you want to do something a certain way, but after doing your market research or after engaging with your customers, you realize, actually, I don't need to be selling that. I need to be selling this. This could apply for nonprofits too, and it could be the service you provide. You may go into it thinking that you need to provide a certain service a certain way, but after engaging with your clients, you realize that doesn't really help them. They actually need this based on my experience serving them, and you shift and adjust. So I think it's really important for you to know what is the product that you're selling. And I'm going to tell you a piece of advice that I got that has been helpful for me. Be clear on what your signature product or what your signature service is, because sometimes we want to do everything, or you may have the possibility of selling a lot of things, or you may have the skill set to market yourself in a lot of different ways, but people need to know what you're known for. People need to know how to basically gravitate to you. People need to know what to seek you for. And it's important to have like a signature service or a signature type of thing that you do so people can understand that better. If you present a lot or throw a lot at people, they get confused. And the worst thing you want to do is confuse your customer, because a confused customer doesn't buy. So it's been really helpful for me to think about what's my signature service or what's my signature set of services. And as I said before, this may shift and it may adjust as you decide what you're trying to be, but just be very clear on what you do and what your lane is. And there may be a time later where you expand or do something different, but always know what that key service is so that everyone else who your potential customer or maybe a repeat customer is clear on what you do and how you help. The third thing is a boring thing, but it's important. It's a plan. And there are a bunch of different plans that you can have for your business or you can have for a nonprofit. So for a for-profit, you may have a business plan. That's usually what's done in the for-profit space. And in the nonprofit space is usually a strategic plan, but you can also have a business plan as a nonprofit. But really for me, what undergirds that is, first of all, having clear goals, understanding who your audience is and what you're selling them, and also how to market to them, right? And understanding what their problems are, what motivates them, so you can understand how to market to them and how to sell to them the best way. And also those plans should connect to your financial goals or financial projections, or how you plan to make money and what are the strategies you're going to use to make money. That doesn't matter whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit. You got to be clear on what your plan is to bring money, because you need financial resources to be able to run and to be successful. And yes, I'm talking about nonprofits too. If you don't realize that I talk about nonprofits all the time, check out a lot of my videos on the Boss on a Budget channel. But as a nonprofit, you absolutely have to talk about money. You have to be upfront about how much money you need to be able to run successfully. And you have to have a plan to fundraise, to be able to bring money in so that you can do all the great things and make an impact. It's no different from a for-profit. A for-profit has to understand how they're going to make money in order to get their end goal, which is profit. Okay, so you got to have plans in place to figure out what are the paths for me to get there. And the important thing about a plan is that you set your goals, you set your intentions, but you go back and assess. That is a key piece of planning that is so hard to stay consistent with. But you set your goals and you set your intentions, but then you ask yourself 6 months later or a year later, how did we do? What happened? What worked well? What didn't work well? How can we adjust based on what we know about what worked or what didn't work? So that's why planning is important. It's not just to set goals. That's really, really important. I'm big on goals, but it's also for you to be able to assess yourself and say, first of all, did we have the right goals? Are we heading in the right direction? Is this what we really want for our business? Right? So think about all the different plans you should have in place. And absolutely, you should have some kind of business plan or strategic plan so you have some sense of direction of where you want to go. And then finally is how to market or have a marketing plan. Now, I'm going to give a caveat. I am not a marketer, okay? But as a business person, you have to learn how to market. And eventually you may have somebody to help assist with that or to do the marketing for you. But when you're starting, whether you're doing a nonprofit or a for-profit, you got to know how to market yourself and how to market your services or your products. So if you're not clear on how you're going to present what you do to the public and to your target audience, then it's going to be hard to get people to get behind your product or to support your business or your nonprofit. So you need to decide for yourself, who are the people that need to hear from me? And there may be different types of people. You're trying to figure out who your customers are or who your key audiences are. And what are the messages they need to hear from you? What do they need to know from you? What do they need to learn from you? What value can you bring to them? And then you need to ask yourself, well, what's the pathway to get them to buy my service, buy my product, or if you're a nonprofit, to donate or use my services, right? So you need to be thinking about visibility. When I talk about marketing, I like to use the word visibility because that matters. how many people see you, how many people hear your message, making sure you have a clear and compelling message, making sure that people understand the benefit you bring, the value you bring, which is why they would buy from you or why they would use or secure your services or donate to you. You got to be very clear on that. So if you're starting a business and you haven't thought about how you're going to be found, how you're going to be discovered, and what's the path to get people to trust you to then use your services, you need to go and write that down right now. I am very open and transparent about the fact that I did not do this starting, and it is a weak point of mine because I don't like to sell, right? But I've also learned that marketing is less about me getting nervous or being anxious about a sale. It's more about how I can provide the service that my customer needs. So there are people out here who actually need my service. So it's not me begging, or it's not me feeling like asking people to buy things begrudgingly. They actually need the services that I provide, and I provide a good service. So I've learned throughout my business experience, my entrepreneurship journey, that marketing is just being able to find the right people who need my service and making sure they know the value it will bring to their lives. And that's just what it is. So when you think about it like that, it should be less apprehensive for you. It should be less scary, but you gotta write down or have a sense of how you're going to market your business, because if people don't know about you, then they can't support you and they can't buy from you. Thank you so much for watching. Was this helpful? What are some things, if you're a business person, what are some things that you think you should have when you're starting a business? Let's start a conversation in the comments so we can help other people who may be watching this and starting their journey as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you need help with your nonprofit, make sure you visit me at bossonabudget.com. And I also have a free nonprofit startup checklist that you can download. Check out the description box below for that link. All right, y'all. See you in the next video.